What if ancient Israel did not exist in antiquity? Oh, well, we are given this as the proof that Israelites or Hebrews existed. But is this the archaeological proof? What if ancient Israel did not exist in antiquity? Could this matter? The miracle of Judaism is that though it is a much smaller religion in terms of global numbers, estimated at less than 0.2% of the world's population, it is the major source of Judeo-Christianity, Hinduism, as well as Islamic philosophy and ideology and spirituality, constituting almost 75% of the world's population. Because what we know is that that which you pay attention grows. Now, billions have been made to grow the historical idea that Judaism provided the historical and theological foundation for their Hinduism, Christianity, as well as Islamic behavior. Yet when asked for their proof Israelites or Hebrews existed, they turn to the Torah, nowhere else. 75% of today's world population thinks that monotheism was revealed by Judaism. Monotheism is a concept that is central to Christianity and Islam and Judaism, but was it brought to the world by the Jews? When you turn to the Torah for proof of Israel and the scriptures of Israel, you are doing a foundational acceptance to the Abrahamic religions and the idea of a people, a chosen people called Israel. And therefore their culture, their spirituality, and their behavior drives your world view and spiritual view and how you live. In contemporary relevance, identifying if Israel existed in antiquity holds a central place in validating those beliefs that are dominating the world and their narratives. It is very clear and a proof that monotheism is one of them, because it is in Islam, it is in Christianity and Judaism, it is in Hinduism, in Sikhism, Zoroastrians. So the Abrahamic religion rules this earth, influences this earth. Therefore, billions also want to be a chosen people. They call themselves Allah's people, connected to the Torah, connected to the people of the book. Christians think that they are grafted in, because if you read Romans 11:24, you find that it says, "For if you were cut from what is by nature a wild olive tree," in other words, Gentile, nobodies, or heathens, and are now grafted contrary to nature into a cultivated olive tree, which means sublime, the real people, the chosen ones. How much more will these people, the natural branches, be grafted back into their own olive tree? So this is what drives the idea of the chosen nation and of Israel. But there's a huge problem, a big problem. What if Israel's existence is mentioned only in the Bible and nowhere else? That's forcing us to ask, did Israel exist in antiquity? Does archaeology prove that ancient Israel did exist? If Israel did not exist in antiquity, do we have any other source to prove it or to prove it otherwise? How has the Bible fared when archaeologists have compared their findings to its record? We know that they say it was inspired. Despite all the digging, it is clear that the Hebrews were not black. One reason is that they never existed. There is not one archaeological artifact proving the existence of a people called the Hebrews dating from ancient times. All references to them come after the 3rd century B.C.E. from the Greek book called Septuagint, which claimed to be a translation of the Torah, though no evidence of a Torah existed before that. There is not a single soul from this historical record, whether in the Quran, whether in the Bible, whether in the Torah, whose tomb or tombstone has been found. Not a single statue, not even a piece of jewelry, no inscription, nothing at all, absolutely nothing. And this is a huge problem, because archaeological evidence of the existence of black civilizations and other civilizations exist. The Olmecs, the Mohenjo-Daro priests, Mohenjo-Daro civilization, Hamitic civilization, Cushitic civilization, the Nok in West Africa, Canaan, old Phoenicians. Still, when we come to the Hebrews, there is nothing. Or there is evidence of Israel and Hamit. But where did the Hebrew or Israelites come from? How do we know? And how can we prove it? What is the source of your belief? It is Abraham. who existed as the father of the Jews and lived in a land known as Ur of Chaldea in southwestern Mesopotamia, and worshipped a god called Yahweh, the God of Abraham, who told him to leave Ur of Chaldea and settle in Canaan, which is now Israel. He is the mythical father of Semites. The only source about that is found in Genesis in the Torah. There is no archaeological evidence of Abraham or that he existed. Whether argument from silence or from substitution, nothing at all. Except if you read in the Bible, and he had to be connected with something greater so that he can have legitimacy, Hamit. The earliest positive proven historical attestation of any Semitic people comes from the 30th century B.C.E. Mesopotamia with the East Semite speaking people of Cush, and who civilized the whole world, as shown here, between 3000 and 1500 BCE, and dominated almost every trade, every civilization up to China. There was no Israel during this melanin dominance of civilization. Nimrod, who is one of a great personage from ancient times, comes from the line of King Ori, who ruled in 3776 BCE, and before the biblical flood, and before the biblical stories, which came 1,000 years later. Now, who is going to argue with this fact? You can go and read from W.W. Balanta and realize that there was no Abraham and there was no Israel during this time of Nimrod. But if you read the Bible, they put Nimrod there because they want legitimacy. According to the great scholar Dr. Shenganda Diop, the Asians remained silent about the alleged Mesopotamian culture prior to the Chaldeans. They considered the latter a caste of Hamitian astronomer priests, that is to say, melanin dominant human beings, Negroes or black people or Africans. That's very clear. According to Diodorus, the Chaldeans were a colony of priests that Belas had transported on the Euphrates and organized on the model of ancient Hamitic structure. So it is that the term Chaldea or Chaldean forms the root word for the Greek astrologer. The Tower of Babel, a step pyramid similar to the Tower of Saqqara, also known as Bis Namrud or Temple of Baal, was probably the astronomical observatory of ancient Hamites in Sumer. Very, very, very important to understand the no Abraham, no Israel. Whilst Egypt is frequently referred to in the Bible, 700 times, 595 times as Egypt, and 120 times as Egyptians, according to Dr. Ashraf Ezat, Israel is hardly at all mentioned in ancient Egyptian records. You take Hamit out of the Bible, you take Egypt out of the Bible, the whole structure of the Israelite tale instantly collapses, because to get legitimacy, they associated themselves in friendship or in enmity or in connection with the greatest, which is Hamit. Therefore, we go to Hamit in ancient times and look for Israel, and we find that probably it is mentioned only once, but never again in a Hamitic source. That source is where we see many scholars now coming up and jumping up in excitement that there is proof of Israel existing in antiquity, and that proof is found in African Hamitic source. Is this true? Is the Merneptah or Merneptah, the son of Ramesses II, who ruled between 1213 and 1203, proof of Israel? And they say he was smitten, his seed was no more? This was what the archaeologist, scholar, Egyptologist, the British, Flinders Petrie said when he discovered this stele in Thebes. But there's a problem there. The Merneptah Stele talks about a tribe of which Merneptah destroyed. According to the interpretation of Petrie, it was Israel. Israel is laid to waste. Its seed is no more. A number of alternative readings for this same text that includes this word Israel has been proposed and debated. The most common alternative is that this word can also mean Jezreel, a city, or Jezreel Valley, a place where many battles have been fought to defend the Red Line. Other defeated Egyptian enemies listed besides Israel in Merneptah Stele, such as Ashkelon, Gaza, as well as Yanom, show them as inhabited states, but for Israel it implies demonym for a semi-nomadic population who were always on the move at the time the stele was created, instead of a settled people as we have been taught in the Torah. Dr. Ezat continues to show certain aspects of this stele of Merneptah, where he said, if you notice in here, David Dovis 2010 here, you see that there's a chalk here, mark here, following the engraving of the hieroglyphic. This drawing perfectly follows the hieroglyphic and it comes out as a voucher. On the contrary, for the letter marked B, the chalk drawing of the neck and the head of the voucher continues outside of the carving. Look at it cleverly here. Outside of the carving, and does not correspond to the letter R. This is where the forgery was done. Now let's say that the red contour of the engraving of the hieroglyphic suggests that of an owl, M, and not the letter R. That's the trick that has been played to insert Israel as a nation that existed during the Hamitic era. This falsification of the letter M, owl, into the letter A, voucher, was probably what Flinders Petrie in 1896 did. And from that time, him and his colleagues and many others traced this hieroglyphic with a chalk in this way because in their minds, Merneptah must have attacked and destroyed Canaan because they were coming from a biblical perspective, interpreting hieroglyphics using the Bible. In current understanding and edited version, the line 27, where the people of Isis-Ra or Israel are mentioned, they are not devastated. And they are not the actual ones. They are the Kabiru. The Kabiru, who were starving because of famine and the war. The Israel Merneptah Stele is a forgery. Has been interpreted to mean what it doesn't mean. The people mentioned in it are the Karu or the Kabiru. And the interpretation is proved by archaeology and many other works. And it is known that Merneptah dispatched the cereals from Hamit to the starving Habiru or the Hati, who were the victims of famine and not Israel. So this is a forgery when you read this. The hieroglyphic Isis-Ra is in fact an Egyptian sentence meaning those exiled of their sin because of their sin. Exiled by pharaohs because this is how they said according to their history of when they exiled the people that followed Ikhnaton and they forced to quit Hamit. And the name of these people, Isis-Ra, changed to Israel through the alteration of the letter R into L. So this is where Israel came from the people that were displaced because of the sins of Ikhnaton. This is the myth of Israel. This is the source of it all. The people that were defeated and pushed out because of their irreligiosity of trying to destroy other divinities and saying there is only one divinity, which is an error and it's erroneous. When they were in exile, these followers of Ikhnaton developed together with the Canaanites who had already started to be mixed up with Asiatics. That's where you get the term Semitic people, mixed people who later moved on to the north up to Europe. Here we have given the proof that Israelites or Hebrews existed only in the interpretation of the hieroglyphics by scholars. It is clear, therefore, that 75% of world population today follow this created and chosen race that did not exist in antiquity as itself, but as a group of followers of a heresy that was introduced in Hamit, that removes Mahati and tried to remove other divinities. It is this mythology of Abraham, Abraham, father Ra of Hamit, where a Greco-Roman, Judeo-Christian, Islamic myth came up and then proposed this Hamit as a fire, as a spirit, this Ra or Abraham as a divinity in Hamit, from Hamit. And there were people that were fired and they pushed out because of their heresy that arose after the flood of new waters of potential. Our book, Free from God, deals with this God, deals with this Abraham, deals with this in a comprehensive manner. You can get it from Amazon, read it and leave a comment there, a review there for others to understand what you would have understood. What if Israel did not exist? Yes, it's very true, because there was no Middle East. And so also all these stories, the Middle East was created by Europe. It never existed. The whole area up to Mesopotamia, as we have proved, was ruled by ancient melanin dominant human beings. It was one kingdom, one civilization. These stories that you read in the Bible were written in Africa thousands and thousands of years before the Bible. Therefore, we need to go back to these Ubuntu Ma'ati stories where we can meet modern challenges using ancient solutions. Thank you. Have a great day. Subscribe to our channel, like our video, share, leave a comment, and let us walk this journey together as we restore Ubuntu Ma'ati. Amen.